Hi everyone. First of all, I would like to thank you all for joining this webinar today. So, my name is Uma Maheshwari and I work here at Syncfusion as one of the product managers handling few of the web and Blazor components. So, today in this webinar, I'm going to present you the new stuffs that are being introduced in our Blazor and Essential JS2 components for this Volume 3 2021 release. So let's move on to the agenda of this webinar. The basic agenda of this webinar is we'll see what's new in our Blazor and web components for this Volume 3 2021 release. And at last, we'll also explore the way to create .NET MyUI apps using Blazor. And we'll also see how to add Blazor components. How to add Syncfusion Blazor components into it. So we'll check it out by creating a very simple example and try to add our Blazor component into it. So now let's deep dive into the Blazor updates first. So what's new in Blazor for Volume 3 2021 release? We all know .NET 6 is heading towards its production release in the mid of November 2021. So in its successful journey so far, we got .NET 6 RC1 update from Microsoft in the last month. In the mid of September 2021. So to meet its standard and the other enhancements, we worked in this Volume 3 2021 release to make all our Blazor components compatible with .NET 6 RC1 update. So we are glad to officially announce that all our Blazor components are now completely compatible to use with .NET 6 RC1 update. And apart from that, a new Bootstrap 5 theme has been introduced. So now all our Blazor components can be rendered in both the light and dark variants of Bootstrap 5 theme. Next, we have a couple of new components, that is breadcrumb and icon component, which is newly introduced in Blazor for this Volume 3 2021 release. So you can look at the appearance of breadcrumb component from here. I'll show the exact usage of this component in the demo page now. And you can also look at the icon component here. Previously, we have the font icons being used in any of the web application by referring its content code inside the CSS styles. But now you can directly render it as a component by using its name attribute. So let me show you how it works in the demo page and also in the documentation page. So you can check the breadcrumb component under the navigation section. So inside this breadcrumb, you can see the variety of styles, how the breadcrumb is being customized. So you can check a simple breadcrumb here. It is nothing but a navigation kind of component which helps you to navigate between the pages or between the folders or between the links like that. So it can be of anything denoting the location. So here you can see the icon is being accompanied at the first level. So you can have n number of items separated by any of the separator. So here the slash is being used, which is the default style. And the last item which you can see here is the active item, denoting the active page or active location. You can also bind it to the location, or you can have the URL binding like this. So let's see the way it can be customized. So here you can see the custom breadcrumbs. Each of the item is customized, and in the second template you can see a specific item has been customized. So the last item is customized with an additional string appended to it. And you can also customize the separator. We have already seen the separator front slash is being used as a separator by default, but here you can see it is being replaced with an arrow icon. And here you can check the custom breadcrumb and how it is separated in a beautiful way. So this is how you can customize the breadcrumb, and also you can look at the use case. I mean, a very good example for this is File Manager, or you can say File Explorer in Windows. So here, when you click on this particular separator, you can again check the other available items in that particular level. So you can say it as a sub level of this particular item. So if I click this downloads, and you can navigate to that particular location. And now let's look on to the icons component. So here you can see SF icon tag. Just by mentioning the name of the icon, you can see the icons being rendered here. So previously we will specify the content code inside the CSS style, even in the Blazor applications. But now we have introduced this icon component with several customizing options, like you can specify the icon size with the size property, and you can also add tooltip for that particular icons, and you can change the appearance of the icon by using the eicons class, I mean the style. And you can also use CSS class to render the custom font icons like this. So next we'll look on to the new features added to Data Grid component for this Volume 3 2021 release. So a new adaptive UI layout support has been added to the Data Grid to have a better view on smaller screens. Like you can see, the Data Grid's UI is completely customized and redesigned uh, to have better view on mobile devices. So it's built-in features like filtering, sorting, searching, and other editing actions. All other features has been redesigned considering the mobile factors, and even the row rendering has been modified for the mobile layout. So which you can check out from our demo page. So let me show you now. You can check the adaptive example, and here you can check out the row rendering, how it differs for mobile layout. And also when I click the filter icon, you can see the option, I mean the fields that are available in that particular grid. And when I click that particular field, then you will be able to see the values that are available in that particular field. So in this way, the entire UI has been redesigned to have a better view on mobile devices. Let me show you another update from this demo page itself. So next update is column chooser template. So with this feature, you can customize this column chooser pop-up. So here you can see the field names are grouped. So the content area and the footer area has been customized by making use of the template property. And apart from that, custom sort comparer support has been added. So now you can customize the default sort action for any of the particular column by writing your own sorting logic. So next we'll look on to the new features that are added to tree grid component. So again, what we have seen with in the grid component, so the same column chooser template support is available for tree grid component as well. And apart from that, column visualization support has been added. So now you can boost the performance of your application by rendering only the columns in the viewport. So all other columns that are apart from the viewport will get rendered dynamically only when you scroll the horizontal scroll bar. This is how the column virtualization support will work. So this is newly added to tree grid component from this release. And other than that, custom validation support has been added while editing the values. So whenever you perform CRUD operations at the application end, you can add custom validation to the records like this, performing some custom validation on it. And another feature is paste and autofill. So this is nothing but the Excel like autofill feature. Just you need to copy the selected cells and you can paste it over the multiple cells of the tree grid rows. Next, moving on to the features that are added to chart component. So there are no new features added in chart component, but some of the performance improvements has been added. Like you can now load large amounts of data, which you can refer from this metrics shared here. So not only loading large amount of data, but you can also make dynamic updates much faster now. So like if you want to change the chart types, or if you want to customize your legend or axis range annotations or any of the thing, if you want to make some dynamic updates, you can do it very faster now. Next, moving on to the scheduler features, virtual scroll mask has been support has been newly added. So with this feature, you can see a loading placeholder is displayed on each of the cells. So this indicates nothing but the presence of appointments in that particular cells, and until the appointment is visible on those cells, so the loading placeholder will be displayed on those cells while scrolling down. Next feature that is added to scheduler is header indent template. So this is nothing but here you can see the header rooms type capacity like that. So previously we customized this at the application end. So now we have added the built-in support, built-in template support to do this customization. Now apart from these features, Blazor scheduler component also supports to bind the observable collection as well as expando object and dynamic objects. So now you can bind the observable collection as the appointment data, and whenever you are not sure about the model type to bind to the scheduler during the compile time, at that particular time you can go for the expando object and dynamic object binding. So this is also supported in scheduler component now. Not only in scheduler, but these kind of data binding options is now supported in Blazor Kanban component also. And apart from that, scheduler also obtained a custom sort comparer feature in this release. Now you can customize the default sort action for the overlapping appointments by writing your own sorting logic. And next to the pivot table component, you can now customize the data labels in pivot chart. See here, the border and the text are displayed in a appealing way. Next, moving on to the Gantt chart features, header template support has been added. So here you can have a look at the header cell in the tree grid part. You can now customize it by adding your own icons or images to the header cells by using header template option. And also responsive support has been added to the Gantt chart now. So you can render the component responsive according to its parent container's dimension or based on the browser's width and height. So this is one such update for Gantt chart. And also dependency custom validation support has been added. So now you can add custom validation to the tasks dependencies whenever you perform CRUD operations at the application end. Next, moving on to the maps feature. Online map providers can be now rendered in the Blazor Maps component. So the providers like TomTom, Mapbox, all and so on can be rendered in our Blazor Maps component now. And you can also customize the zooming toolbar as per your requirement. So you can customize its appearance by changing its background color, border color, fill color, and so to change its appearance like this. So what's new with PDF Viewer is some of the performance improvements has been made to PDF Viewer. So now you can add annotations easily with no performance degradation. So you can easily add and edit those annotations with no performance kind of issues now. So, and to the PowerPoint library, encryption and decryption support has been added. Now you can encrypt and decrypt your presentation document by using a unique password. So these are the new updates that are available for our Blazor components in this Volume 3 2021 release. Next, we'll look on to the new updates that are available for all our essential JS2 components in this Volume 3 2021 release. So the first common update is Bootstrap 5 theme, so which we have already seen with the Blazor update. Bootstrap 5 theme is also available for all our essential JS2 components. So you can make use of it. And again, we have seen this breadcrumb component while discussing about the Blazor updates. So this new component is also available for all the essential JS2 platforms. So you can make use of it from this release. Next to the data grid component, the sticky header support has been added. So let me show you how it works in a demo. And you can also have a look at this topic, infinite scrolling with keyboard. So before showing the demo, let me tell you what this is. So we already have this infinite scrolling support in data grid. So it's nothing but the keyboard accessibility support has been provided for infinite scrolling both in the up and downwards direction. So first let's see what is sticky header. So here you can look at the grid header over here. So in the usual case, whenever we scroll the document page, the component will hide its column at the time of scrolling. But here you can see the column gets hold on to a fixed position. So only the grid content will be scrolling and the header is placed in a fixed position. Next, moving on to the chart features, fixed column width support has been added. So now you can specify a fixed width. So here you can see data points with fixed width. So each data point is having a fixed width, and you can set this fixed width for any of the chart types like bar, range column, and column. And next to the tree grid component, freeze direction support has been added so that you can freeze the columns in any of the direction like left, right, or both the sides. So let's have a look at an example for this. There is a freeze direction example available in tree grid. So here the column name is set to task name, this one, and the freeze direction is set as left. So now when I scroll, you can see the freeze action, and if I set it to right, you can check how it works. Next, moving on to the scheduler features. So these two features we have already seen in the Blazor update. So header indent template, which we have seen to customize this particular header cell with resources enabled in the scheduler, and we have already seen custom sort comparer, which is nothing but to customize the default sort action for the overlapping appointments. So you can write your own sorting logic. And apart from this, to the PDF viewer component, performance enhancement has been made while zooming the page content. And with the signature support, now the signature dialog will show the signature options like draw, type, and image. So you can make use of either of the options. Next to the data manager component, GraphQL adapter support has been added. So with this feature, now you can fetch the data and perform any of the CRUD operations by making use of the GraphQL APIs. And to the drop-down tree component, custom template support has been added. So with this feature, now you can visualize the custom template instead of the exact selected item value in the drop-down tree. Say for example, here you can look at the selected options New South Wales, Victoria, and Western Australia. But the value that is displayed over here is three items selected. So this is the template that is being applied over here. Instead of displaying the values, the template is displayed over here, custom template. And next to the Gantt chart, this we have already discussed in the Blazor update. So responsive support has been added. The Gantt chart can now render based on the parent container's width and height or based on the browser's dimension. And next to the query builder component, complex data binding support with drop down tree has been added. So let me show you this in an example. Before that, let me list out other features in this slide, like enter key customization feature has been added to rich text editor. So I'll show an individual example for this component as well. And to the toast component, utility function has been added. So now you can easily display a simple toast in any of your required place just by calling this utility function. So now let's look on to the demos for query builder and rich text editor. So a new example, complex data binding has been added. So here in this drop down, it's nothing but the drop down tree. So here you can see country, again it has state, and again at its sub level it has zip code. So the fields are, the columns are nested in such a way, custom state and city or zip code like that. So if I want to choose this city, then you can see here country.state.city. So this is how a drop down tree component is rendered for the field option to select from the nested column. So this is what it is represented as complex data binding support using this drop down tree. And next to the rich text editor component, so what is this enter key customization? So with this feature, you can customize the appended tags while pressing the enter or shift plus enter key combination using the newly introduced properties in rich text editor. So say for example, here you can see the option is selected as create a new paragraph tag, and for while pressing shift plus enter key, a new break tag has to be created. So just have a look at this particular place when I press enter. So I'm placing my cursor here, and now I'm going to press enter, and let me again press enter. I just don't want to create a li now. Okay, so here you can see a paragraph tag has been created, and now when I press shift plus enter, you can check the break tags is being automatically added for the number of times I press the shift plus enter. Now moving on to the spreadsheet features, a new autofill feature has been added to spreadsheet in this release. So this is nothing but the Excel like autofill feature, using which you can easily fill or copy a series of cell values, and you can also format it into the adjacent cells in any of the direction. I'll show the example shortly for this. And the next thing is password protection for worksheets. So you can now protect your worksheet by encrypting it with a unique password. And custom number formatting support has been added, so with which you can customize the display format of the numbers, time, percentage values, currency values, or date time values, anything. So you can customize any of the display format using this support. And another support is formula values in data validation input. So you can look at the data validation pop-up here. So in the maximum field, not only in the maximum field, so inside the validation input field, now you can provide formula values in those input fields. So this particular support has been added in this release. So that's all about the feature updates for both Blazor and essential JS2 components of Syncfusion in this Volume 3 2021 release. Now let's move on to the final topic, that is exploring .NET MyUI Blazor apps. So we'll see how to create a simple example and embed our Blazor components into it. So basically, we all know MyUI is an evolution of Xamarin Forms. So with .NET MyUI, I mean the primary advantage is you can create a single project and you can build it and have it run on Android, iOS, macOS, and Windows. The primary way we choose to build a MyUI app is by using both C Sharp and XAML. But with this .NET 6, we'll see how to build .NET MyUI apps using Blazor. So if you are already aware of, I mean, if you already enjoy to work with web applications using Blazor's component model, then you can directly start to use this approach by building your MyUI apps using Blazor. So it's not that much different. I mean, this approach is not much difficult or different to use. So if you are familiar with the Blazor's component model, then you can start to create MyUI apps using Blazor. So by doing so, you can have full access to the native capabilities of the device. So it's nothing but hosting Blazor components in .NET MyUI apps, so that you can build the cross-platform native apps using the web UI. So that way, when you compile your app, the components will directly run in the .NET process. I mean, it will run natively in the .NET process, just like any of the MyUI app. And here what it will do is it will render the web UI to an embedded web view control. So we'll see in a demo project how this will work over there. So this particular approach gives you the best of both the native and the web, I can say. So to summarize it in a single point, .NET MyUI Blazor apps can run anywhere the .NET MyUI can. So to create a .NET MyUI Blazor app, you first need to set up .NET MyUI on your development machine. So the easiest way is you can use MyUI check tool. So, but before moving on to that, let me tell you the prerequisites that you need to have to work with .NET MyUI Blazor apps. So you should have .NET 6 mandatorily, and you should have Visual Studio 2022 latest version with the required workloads. So make sure that you have installed Visual Studio along with these workloads, mobile development with .NET and UWP development, and more specifically, if you want to work with .NET MyUI Blazor apps, you have to install this ASP.NET and web development workload as well. So make sure you have all these workloads installed in your machine, development machine. So now let's move on to project creation process. So once you set up your development machine with .NET MyUI configurations, just run MyUI check command to get the .NET MyUI tools and dependencies. So before you run that particular tool, you need to install the MyUI check tool. So to install that MyUI check, to install that MyUI check tool, let me open the command prompt and type in the command .NET tool install -g ret th dot net dot myui dot check. So to install the MyUI check tool, you need to run this particular command. I have already installed this tool in my machine, so I'm just skipping this step here. So once you are done with this particular step, now you can run MyUI check command. So once you install this MyUI check tool, now you can run this MyUI check to acquire the latest .NET MyUI tools and dependencies. So I have already done this particular step as well. So I ignore this particular step as well now. And the next step is you need to get access to the .NET MyUI packages. So you need to add the following NuGet source. Type in the command .NET NuGet add source. So it is necessary to add the NuGet source. I mean, the MyUI preview source we need to add to get access to the .NET MyUI packages. .NET NuGet add source -n MyUI preview, and now we need to provide the path MAUI preview. So I'll provide all these links. I'll share an example with a complete README file with steps as well, so that you can follow up with this. So just add this source, NuGet source, so as to access the .NET MyUI packages. So .NET NuGet add source -n MyUI preview http colon slash slash aka.ms slash myui preview slash index.json. So I have already did this particular step as well. So I'm skipping this particular step also. So once you are done with all these steps, now you can create a .NET MyUI Blazor app either using the new project template like .NET new MyUI Blazor -o, and I need to provide the application name. So let me name my application as MyUI Blazor app example 1. So before I run this command, so I need to create this application in some other location. Let me change the directory, and now I paste that command. The project template, .NET MyUI Blazor app template will get created in D colon now. So let me press enter button. So you can see the message here. The template .NET MyUI Blazor app was created successfully. So let's look on to the D colon. So here you can see MyUI Blazor app example 1 with all the necessary solution files. So either you can create MyUI Blazor app in this way, or you can directly create it using Visual Studio 2022 built-in template. So let's see how to create using Visual Studio now. So I'll open Visual Studio 2020 preview. So I'll create a new project, and here I'll search for the template .NET MyUI Blazor app. For the very first time, you need to search here, and you can also look at the recent project templates. So this is my recently worked items, so it is displayed over here. So here you can see .NET MyUI Blazor app. Select it, click next. I'll just name it as MyUI app Blazor example. I'll create it now. Okay, so now the application has been created. Okay, so now let's explore the folder structure of this particular MyUI Blazor app. So here you can have a look at these folders, which is more similar to the Blazor application. So you can have a look at this pages folder, which has the same components like index fetch component, fetch data and counter. And in the same way, you can find www root folder with css and index.html file. And you can also have a look at this imports.razor file, main.razor file, And a unique thing is we have and I mean we have MAUI program.cs file. Let me open this file, and here you can see the class MAUI program with the method create MAUI app. So this is the entry point for any of the .NET MAUI app. So here, this is the place where the handlers or any of the services needs to be registered within this particular method. So here you can see the font is being registered, as well as the web view is being registered. So we'll see at the later point how to register our syncfusion service as well, or into this place to start using our Blazor components. So uh, so this is the entry point of this .NET MyUI app. Now let's have a look at this main page.xaml. So here you can have a look at this Blazor web view control. Usually .NET MyUI apps uses this particular Blazor web view control to render any of the Blazor components to an embedded web view. So so this particular Blazor web view control is usually set up in this main page.xaml. So the root Blazor component for the app is defined in the main.razor component. So here you can see the component type is mentioned as main, and the selector is mentioned as app. So if I navigate to this index.html page inside this www root folder, you can see the app tag. So this is where the entire Blazor application components are going to get rendered. And as mentioned, the main component, main.razor, you can check the router component here. So whenever the proper route values are found, the appropriate components will get rendered. If not found, then a custom message will get displayed. So other than this, the rest of the Blazor components are available in this pages folder and shared folder. So this is the default structure of my UI Blazor app. So let me run it in the Android emulator now. So I have already have this Pixel 3a XL Android emulator chosen. So I'll directly run my application now. So let's see what kind of output appearance we get. So now the output is getting, now the application is getting deployed to the emulator, and the output finally displayed on the emulator now. It's exactly the Blazor application that is running on the .NET MyUI environment. So you can see the same components, the home, counter, and fetch data. Everything is same what we saw in the usual Blazor applications. So even let's check whether the hot reload option works with this page now. So let me open, say I'll open counter.razor and check with the value now. Equal to 10. So I'll increment it by 10, save the changes, and press hot reload. So now let's see how the value gets incremented. So now I'll click this click me, and you can see the working of hot reload here. That's super cool with a hot reload option over here. So only the changes which we did to that current count variable is getting reflected here. Now, next we'll move on to the next step. Next we'll see how to add SyncFusion Blazor component into this particular project. So I'll stop the project and open. So before I start to use SyncFusion Blazor components, I need to install syncfusion.blazor dot whichever component I'm going to use. I need to install that particular NuGet package. So I have planned to use a simple grid component. So I'll open manage NuGet package and install the grid package through this browse option. So I'll search for syncfusion.blazor.grid. So here you can see the syncfusion.blazor.grid package. I'll choose it and install the latest stable version. So let's wait for a moment to get this installation completed. Yes, the package got installed now. So now the next step is inside the SmartUI program.cs file. I need to register the SyncFusion Blazor service. So for that, I'll add the namespace using syncfusion.blazor, and here I'll make a call to add SyncFusion Blazor method. And to start using SyncFusion Blazor components, you also need to register the license key. You need to register the license here inside this particular method. So for that, you need to make use of this particular line of code, syncfusion dot licensing dot syncfusion license provider dot register license method, and inside this register license method you need to provide your license key. I'm not going to use any of the license key or any trial key now, so I'm simply commenting this line. But in case if you are if you have the license key with you, then you need to make use of this line of code with your trial code inside this double quotes. So next I'll move on to index.html page, and here I need to make a and here I need to add the CSS reference for the Blazor components. To use SyncFusion Blazor components, I need to refer the CSS reference here. So here I'll add the link tag. Let me add the CDN path to the href attribute and style sheet, and I'll close this tab. So once I add this CSS reference in this index.html page, then I'll move on to the imports.razor page, and as usual I'm going to refer the namespace here. Use the namespace syncfusion.blazor.grid so that I can start using this grid component inside any of the uh, default components in this pages folder. And so now inside this index.razor page, inside this index component, let me comment out the existing lines of code, and here I'll add the grid code. So this code I have copied it from the getting started page, documentation page of SyncFusion Blazor Grid component. So you can get this code from the same documentation page. So here you can see the SF grid provided with data source. The orders variable, here you can see the list of orders has been generated inside this on initialized method. and you can also see the order class with four fields. So here, four columns are being displayed with several attributes like header text and also specific width set to each of these grid columns. So now let's see how this grid component is getting rendered in the index page. So the grid component is added. So we registered the Syncfusion, the Blazor service inside this MyUI program.cs, and we have also included the CSS reference here. And inside this imports.razor, we have added reference to syncfusion.blazor.grids, and we have directly included the SF grids component here now. So now let's run this project. Building is done, and now project is getting deployed, and it's going to display the output now. So yes, now you can have a look at the grid component over here. So Syncfusion Blazor grid component is getting displayed inside this MyUI Blazor app. So if you look at the message over here, so this is nothing but because of the absence of license key, this warning message is being displayed here. But once if I provide that particular license key, that message will disappear permanently. And here you will be able to see the grid component is being displayed as expected. So not only the grid component, you can start to use any of the Blazor components. You can start to use any of our Blazor components inside this MyUI Blazor app. It's nothing but when you compile your app, when you compile this particular app, the Blazor components will run natively in the .NET process. So just like any other MyUI app will run. So it will render the web UI using that embedded web view control. So that's the only thing, and that's all from my side. And if you have any queries related to this particular example, or any other things that we have discussed in this particular webinar, please do update your queries, and I'm happy to assist you for all your posted queries. So, thank you all. Thank you once again.